Harrison coming to you from the LA Convention Center at IT Expo West 2010. And I'm joined today by Gerd Graumann, Director of Business Development for LumenVox. Welcome, Gerd.
Thank you, Erin.
Thanks for being with me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So tell us about LumenVox and what you guys do.
Sure. LumenVox is a core speech technology company, and we've been in business for about 10 years now. And we started off with that vision to bring speech recognition to the marketplace in a way that it would be easy to deploy, that it would be affordable. And our company has for the past 10 years worked very hard on really creating a very robust and stable core technology piece that allows platform providers and solution providers to add speech recognition solutions to their overall product portfolio.
Okay. And I understand you have some new partnerships that you're announcing. Tell us about those.
Yeah, very exciting. So a couple of new partnerships we completed in the past few weeks, and one of them is Genesys. Genesys, many of you will know Genesys, of course, a very strong company in the call center space. And LumenVox has interopted with the Genesys platform and now is officially supported. So the entire Genesys ecosystem, partners and end users in the enterprise can now work with LumenVox Speech. And that means to them that there's a very interesting alternative to the current vendor structure in place. We can provide excellent pricing and also a good partnership to the Genesys-based world.
Okay, great.
So this is one company. Another company, which is in particular, as we are here at the IT Expo, that has integrated LumenVox, and we have now a number of deployments in place, which is BroadSoft. And BroadSoft has also integrated the LumenVox engine into their core platform, into the media server. And now the carriers that are working with BroadSoft and the service providers can now add to their current product offerings, such as hosted IP PBX, also speech recognition. It really makes a big difference in that space because most everything that's currently deployed really is now deployed based on touch tone technologies. So when people, for instance, in a call router environment, they have to type in the first 3 letters of somebody's name in order to get to this person. So adding speech to that in this particular space makes it so much easier. You can just say the name and you get directly connected to the people you're looking for. Other interesting areas in that space are that you can now focus also on business applications. Even though you're coming in through a carrier infrastructure approach, you're able now, based on the BroadSoft implementation, to build applications such as survey systems, which can be utilized by the marketing and the executive level people within an organization. So that really brings IVR or automated systems from the typical telecom-only approach to really into the focus of an entire enterprise, and it allows carriers and solution providers to reach a whole level of business folks within the companies and approach, from a sales point of view, companies more from a solution perspective versus from an infrastructure-only approach.
Okay.
So Genesys and BroadSoft, 2 very exciting partnerships, and we're really happy that we have the opportunity to work with these companies and their respective ecosystems.
Okay, great. And LumenVox has been busy in another area. Tell us about your upcoming 10.0 release.
Yeah, so 10 years in business, and every year we pretty much come out with a brand new release. And this time around, with 10.0, we have created in our industry, something that nobody else has at this point available, which is 64-bit infrastructure and 64-bit architecture for Windows and for Linux. And what we have seen in the past year or 2 years is that more and more, particularly large hosted environments, move entirely their infrastructure into a 64-bit architecture. And the speech engine oftentimes has been the only piece that was 32-bit. So we really decided to put a lot of resources on that. We rewrote our entire system under the hood, and with 10.0 we now come out also with a 64-bit system, and that allows now for much denser systems, which of course now where everybody's focused on having lesser rack space in data centers and also to do more complex applications. That's where 64-bit really comes in and helps to really achieve that. So 64-bit, very exciting, part of our new release. And another area where we saw a lot of demand growing steadily is text-to-speech, TTS.
Okay.
And so our 10.0 release, which is coming out in about 2 weeks, which is the middle of October now, Will also include full text-to-speech support. We will provide an engine now alongside with our speech engine, and that really completes the picture where you have entire IVR functionality from the text-to-speech and the ASR perspective in place.
Okay, great.
Besides that, we have been working also very diligently on one aspect that is more and more important as the entire world is going mobile, obviously, right? So many callers are not coming in anymore from, as it used to be, from a desk telephone with a real quiet environment around, but calling in from airports, from all sorts of very loud places, conferences, as we are at one right now. So the one thing that really created quite a bit of pain was the noise level that many of the callers are experiencing in the background. Of course, the speech engine that now needs to take in the actual speech from the caller and then has to figure out what is speech and what is actually noise in the background. So that has been our focus, to really do good noise cancellation technology. And we have now a very advanced system that's also coming to be released with 10.0 that addresses that and makes for a very robust recognition process, even if it might be noisier in the background.
Okay, great. And talk a little bit, before we have to wrap up, a little bit about your technology roadmap. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in terms of what's coming up with the next release down the road, we're looking at further developing the noise cancellation approach. One bigger part of that is what we call voice activity detection, VAD. So we're revamping that part as the next part of our roadmap to further enhance that process. We really understand where is speech starting, where is speech ending. This is in terms of barge in, very important that you don't get what we call false barge in, where when you listen to a prompt and somebody in the back slams the door and then the system thinks somebody's talking and your prompt stops. So we're able to really distinguish very finely now where there's actual speech occurring, so that process is not in any way being deterred by other background noise. So that's coming in our future releases. And another part that is very interesting, and for many years we've been talking about that, is natural speech. So just like as we are talking, of course, as people communicate with automated systems, they would really like to speak to these systems just as they would communicate with an agent. So the answer to that is called SLM, stands for Statistical Language Model. And we now are in the process of implementing a complete SLM approach, which allows people to really, in their natural approach, their natural way of communicating, to talk to a system and just when they call in, say what they want in their own words. And the system is able, with SLM technology, to really understand it and then communicate in a very natural language-driven approach to talk to a person. Kind of what you've seen in science fiction movies, where HAL, of course, very popular system for many years. And that was really very much what we're moving into talking speech, that it's not that strict, rigid dialogue anymore, but people can really just speak as they would normally do and communicate. So that's the other part, which I think is important. We have many items, of course, on the roadmap, but I think the VAD, voice activity detection, along with SLM, are very important in our industry to really move further ahead and really make speech as a technology really user-friendly and enable people now to really communicate in the way that they really want to.
Okay, Gerd, we're just about out of time. If you could just summarize, you guys have a somewhat different company culture than a lot of other companies.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That is really important. And we see it often in environments where there's very large companies, that the more the companies grow, the more difficult, for some reason or another, it seems to be that that the focus stays really on the customer and on the partner. So our philosophy is really very focused to work with our partners, to be there for our partners, to have a very flexible environment in place that we can listen to our partners, take in recommendations and implement them in a fairly short amount of time, that when there's questions, when there's support needed, that we're there. So we see ourselves as a company as an extended part of our partners' teams. So we can work together on these projects and make sure that we are all as a team successful. And this is really the essence of the company culture of LumenVox. And that's how we have been implementing even very challenging projects with our partners in a great way, so that we all became successful. And that's what really counts at the end of the day. So I think that's important, and not every company has this approach. And I think it's important that you know that as you're listening to that. And we're here for you, we're here for our partners, and together, this is really our motto, how we approach projects together.
So it's a very collaborative approach then.
Yeah. Thanks, Erin.
All right. Well, thank you, Gerd. I've been speaking with Gerd Graumann, Director of Business Development for LumenVox. I'm Erin Harrison at IT Expo West 2010 in Los Angeles.
All right. Thank you.